I remember it just like it was yesterday. I can't remember anything else about that day other than walking a few minutes before it happened. I knew where I was and in what direction I was going, but where to and where from, I still don't have a clue. I can tell you one thing. I remember every little second, every little detail, every color, everything after I first saw her in that golden bird. At first I caught a glimpse out of the corner of my eye. It was like the first cup of coffee you taste in the morning. My thoughts started to wake and my mind started to feel things that I had never felt before. She was standing in front of a store window, staring intensely through the glass at a remarkable golden bird. She was almost as if in a trance, hypnotized by its reflected beauty. I wanted our lives to intertwine that day, but I was too dazed and catatonic. When I snapped out of it, she was gone, leaving me with a 10-foot hole in my heart. I wanted more than anything to buy that bird for her. I knew I'd never have that much money though. Some universal force had grasped a hold of me. I felt compelled to get this bird for that woman, and I vowed to myself to do so. If it so helped me took my soul, or if it was the death of me. I must make one, I thought. I must learn. I must master the art of the bird. I searched high and low and far and wide for a teacher of the sacred art, but I came up empty-handed. I eventually had to resort to black magic and sorcery. I even had to give a little blood and sign a few papers. Now I need to find the materials, I thought. This took time and about a half a tank of gas. Who'd have thought paper would be that hard to find? I eventually found my way to Hobby Lobby and made sure I didn't get anybody pregnant while I was there. What? A book on it? Oh well. Before I found the good stuff, I was making them out of anything paper I could find. Newspapers, Post-its, napkins, toilet papers, you name it. After hours of trial and error and many paper cuts, I finally made the perfect bird. But there was one thing missing. It was not made of gold. I knew my aunt had some gold leaf she had been hoarding at a house, so I went over there and begged her if I could have it. But she was a bitch and made me give her the last change I had to my name. I worked all night putting that gold on, and I can say it was worth it at that time. I knew that woman had to visit that store often to admire that bird. She just had to. I felt the connection between them, like me to her. I just hoped one day she would long for me like she longed for that golden bird. I returned to that little shop in the village and waited for days, months, and years. Okay, I'm lying. I only waited for a few days. But I slept on the street and amused myself for hours with my lack of self-worth, rotting slowly from the center of the heart out. Then one day, finally, she came to grace me once again with her intoxicating aura. It was just like the first time I saw her. It was just like old times. It was amazing. There she stood once again, peering in that little boutique window, lost in the moment and totally oblivious of the world around her. But this time was different. In my pains, I gained the strength to let my inhibitions go. I stood behind her and said in a humble voice,
I made this for you.
She turned around to me and said,
Aw, look at you. You're such a sweetie. You know exactly what a girl wants.
She followed that by ripping out my heart and throwing it in the trash and crushing my whole existence. Well, I swallowed my pride, I swallowed my dignity, and I plan to swallow a couple shots of something later. And I dug down and pulled my heart out of the waste. I put things back where they needed to be and started my walk again. When I finally came to a place that felt right, I made sure my bird would take flight. And I sent her and my soul soaring into the great wide open.